This is mostly channeled information from my guides and is designed for people like me, so CEOs, leaders, founders, and people who want to do business in a really different way to what's been going on. So people who want ethical companies and who want to lead from the place of being in the highest good for all involved. If that's you, stay tuned, and if that's not you, good luck. Let's start with message number 1. For this channeled message, I'm going to do it with my eyes closed, just so you know what's going on. So it's admirable that you wish to be on your highest timeline. And just because you are on your highest timeline or your highest path doesn't mean that occasionally you don't get sidetracked and go down a side street, so to speak. And on that side street, you notice that it's filled with trash and there are rats and rat kings and dilapidated buildings. Because when you're presented with this contrast of this is where I currently am and this is where I would prefer to be, that contrast then serves as intense motivation to rearrange things and rearrange yourself so that you redirect yourself to be back on your highest timeline, back on your highest path. Sometimes you might notice that during periods of stagnation, you very intentionally take that side exit. You go and experience the rat kings, and you go and you experience the trash and the rubbish and the overflowing trash cans so that you can remember that the pathway of your highest timeline, the pathway that you're choosing to be on, is indeed the most profitable pathway. It is indeed the pathway that lights you up. It is indeed the pathway that feels good to your soul because it's literally being directed by your soul. And so you can know that you really cannot get this wrong. For so many of you, you are actively choosing to do what you know is correct, even when it defies logic. But sometimes you do like to just go and test the waters out to make sure that you haven't lost your mind and you haven't lost the plot, and you go and test out that side street just one more time. You will find as the years go by, because of the environment that we are all now operating in, with so many old structures and paradigms falling away, that you will experience these side detours less and less. But they are still there for your choosing if you would like a little bit more excitement. Well, that was intriguing. Let's go on to message number 2. So my guides want to talk about resiliency again. So here we go. What does being resilient even mean? It's spruiked as this North Star metric. If you're not resilient, you suck. But have you ever stopped to think about what being resilient even means? Well, I've never thought about the origin of the word resilient. And so before I continue, in the 1640s, it appeared in English with the literal physical meaning of springing back or returning to an original position. Wow, so no wonder my guides want to talk about this. In the 1670s, it began being used for physical materials that resume their shape after being squeezed or bent. Oh, I know where they're going to go. And in the 1830s, it means people bouncing back from emotional or mental hardships. So let's continue with resiliency. That's correct. Resiliency is all around bouncing back from, returning to your original shape. However, what humans are missing is that the pressure that caused the shape to not be in its original form was not designed so that you could all go back to who you were. It's more of a bouncing forward into who you are choosing to become. There are no awards for returning to who you previously were. Even misfortune is designed to expand your consciousness. There is a divine plan for each and every one of you, and no one is going without expansion. So while it's admirable, perhaps, to be resilient, and that's a trait you might have in your resume, I am resilient, it would be much more wise to think about and feel into the pressure you're under and what that is now molding you into. Because it is not a coincidence that that is occurring. And it's certainly not for you to go back to who you once were. It is not to go back to a past version of yourself. And so it seems that what they're suggesting is that we need a new definition or a redefining of resiliency into one of expansion versus reverting back into something that used to work in the past, because that is not our life anymore. All right, let's check out message number 3. You are all entrepreneurial. Everyone in this audience is entrepreneurial. And in fact, every human has the creative ability to be entrepreneurial. We find it interesting that very few people take up this route, because being creative and being an entrepreneur go hand in hand. Being an entrepreneur is the permission slip that you are all looking for before you embarked on that adventure to simply be more creative. And so if things feel like they're not working out for you and that doors are closing and being slammed in your face and you're being told no, left, right, and center, you can ask yourself, are you still being creative? Because what we see happen with entrepreneurs and founders is that you hop inside the basket of that hot air balloon. You have a direction in mind. It's going to be an adventure. It's very exciting. And as you begin to rise, you get to about 20 meters off the ground and you can see where you want to go. And you start to wonder why it's so hard. Why aren't I moving? Why does it appear like I'm stationary? I feel like I'm doing all of the right things and I'm working very hard, but I'm still 20 meters off the ground, directly from where I have taken off. Now, if you were to look down at the ground, you will see that you still have the sandbags attached to the hot air balloon basket. You have given yourself a length of rope of only 20 meters. Why did you do that? If you're an entrepreneur and you did this because you wanted to express your creativity, because you think you can think bigger, and you can, why have you not detached the sandbags? The sandbags are your limiting beliefs. They are beliefs that come from your ancestors, your parents, and society at large. It's time for you to start removing those sandbags. And the good news is that we are now living in a time where you don't have to open up each bag and pull out one individual sand particle at a time and investigate it and turn it over and look at it from all sides. No, you can begin to literally cut the cord of that belief and leave that sandbag to decompose into the earth. It can be that rapid and that quick. Now, what you'll find is that you have 4 sandbags attached, holding you down, holding you at exactly 20 meters into the air. Now, if you were to remove one sandbag only, you will find that that hot air balloon becomes quite unsteady. It's tilted to one side. And especially for founders and entrepreneurs, people in business, you are who you are. By focusing simply on your business and the results and outcomes in your business, you are overlooking the rest of your humanness. This makes for a very unsteady and turbulent ride. We would recommend that as you remove each sandbag, you look for the corresponding sandbags. Say, for example, that you are in trouble in your workplace because you are curt with other people. People find you offensive even, or short. Well, we highly recommend looking at the other areas of your life where you also might be being perceived in the same way. So for example, your children's soccer team. Are you that parent that is standing on the sidelines, yelling, giving unwarranted feedback when people don't want it? We can guarantee you that if you have an error in your business, then you also have that exact same pattern emerging in all the other areas of your life as well. And so if you would like progress that feels like a quantum leap, and you would like to be able to hold that securely so you're not a one-hit wonder, we highly recommend undoing the belief that's here, there, and everywhere. And on a positive note, we will remind you that we're no longer looking at each granule of sand. You're now able to look at one belief and dismantle that entire system and then fill that up with the belief you now do prefer. And we recommend that you choose beliefs that are going to be supportive in not just your business, but your life as a whole. And so message number 3 is really for every single client I've ever worked with. So you are who you are. We can't segment you into parts. If you have the belief of, I'm not good enough running your company, it's also running in your home life as well. All of a sudden, you'll start to think that your kids aren't good enough. You're not a good enough mom or dad. Nothing is good enough. The house always needs renovating. It's never enough. And so to solve this, you're looking for the pathway of least resistance. Where is that belief showing up? And where is it showing up in the environment where it's the most easy to change? You start there, and then that belief will unravel across the board with very little effort. I'll see you next week.